So, members of the United Kingdom Parliament recently pushed for possible sanctions against the Nigerian government officials over alleged human rights abuses during the #EndSARS protest. We are seeing the impact of Nigerians in the diaspora also from this conversation. We are seeing the foreign governments respond to their petition. Have we truly appreciated the influence of Nigerians abroad? Joining us on the show is a professor of international relations and strategic studies and the head of Department of History and Strategic Studies, University of Lagos, Professor David Aworawo. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
Good to have you on. You can call us on 090-241-63440, and you can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag #TVC so we can read your tweets. All right, so there are many parts of this conversation, and I'd like to hear your thoughts, especially Nigerians abroad. I mean, over 200,000 Nigerians abroad signed this petition to their local parliamentarian, and they took it up. And they could see their views being expressed on the parliament. For me, that was democracy. I mean, for me, that was in itself exactly what we've been asking our leaders, where we petition you for something, and we see you discuss at the floor of the House in itself is democracy. But in your view, do you think that the debates you saw can be impactful in any way? Because we've seen this happen. When they killed Ken Saro-Wiwa, there were lots of talk, they suspended us from the international community, but at the end of the day, nothing really happened. So when we see these debates, yeah, we get excited, but does it really make any, do you think it will be any impact?
Yes, it will. If I'm to start from the points, the example you just gave, the case of Saro-Wiwa, it isn't the case that it didn't fetch anything. Nigeria's suspension from the Commonwealth in the aftermath of the execution of Saro-Wiwa and others, led to several things which were positive. The suspension, compelled the government to take certain measures. The government would have been worse than, would have done worse things than it did if such actions were not taken.
Okay.
It is not true that the action of the international community in the aftermath of the execution of Saro-Wiwa didn't fetch anything. That was not the only thing. The international community gave support to Nigerians who tried to ensure that things change for the better in the country. Many Nigerians went abroad, they were embraced, and they were given assistance at different levels in different ways, which, of course, indirectly contributed to the democracy that came in 1999. So it is not altogether true that those measures fetch nothing. So
will this measure fetch? Do you think it will fetch something?
Yes, certainly it will. To just set another example, just before the Edo election, the international community said, look, elections in Nigeria, we have had this, rigging of elections not reflecting the will of the people, and decided to take certain measures to sanction certain people. It had a positive impact on the Edo election, and it's also still having an impact as we speak. So those things may appear abstract, may appear even esoteric, but when you look at the fallout most of the time, it almost always leads to something positive moving forward.
I've always wondered then when the international community would put like a national sanction on everybody for those who are in their homes quietly, they did not have anything to do with it, and then you sanction all of us. And then this new method, I think, is new, where just individuals that you think are directly related or have affected this problem that they want to try and solve are the ones being sanctioned. Would this make more impact than the national or the country sanction, at once?
Well, both are still applied, depending on the issues and the countries involved. There are sanctions, for instance, on Iran, which affects everybody. While there are sanctions that are targeted at specific individuals when they are identifiable, depending on the issue. And it also has its impact. I agree with you entirely that those ones that are specifically targeted at individuals who are perceived to have committed certain infractions, who have committed human rights abuses in certain ways and things like that, they have tended to be more effective. Because if you look at it, those are the ones who impact policy. Those are the ones who have power. Those are the ones who have influence. Those are the ones who can change things very quickly, whose actions can alter the course of things very quickly. And so those ones that are targeted at specific individuals who have been involved in certain human rights abuse and things like that, have tended to be more effective, as you could see in the case of the Edo election, like I said, and it's also still having impact as we speak.
All right, so you know,
that's arguable, but okay.
Well.
so in that proceeding, if I may call it that, they also mentioned the fact that we have heads of state who somehow, I don't know, those are allegations that we don't have evidence to point to. But I want to ask you, how sincere, because I know that when it comes to a foreign policy, every country must, first of all, protect itself and put their interests first. And I know that sometimes we hear that money has been laundered in this country and that country, and the money is sitting there in the account. They know that the money is from this other country and they don't bring it back. So how sincere do you think this international community will be? Or how sincere are they to ensure that such corrupt practices are not encouraged in their country as a support for us?
Well, we have different categories. Maybe we can break them down into three.
Okay.
The first are those who sincerely and genuinely want those monies laundered to be, taken back so that those countries can develop. Then we have those who are lukewarm, who don't really bother much. Then we have the third category who benefit from this, who don't see anything wrong with it, who collaborate with those who bring the money for personal benefits. Those who spoke at the UK Parliament the other day, from the way they spoke, you almost want to think that it belongs to the first category. Those who think that, the developing countries are shortchanged by their leaders, who launder their money and make them even poorer than they already are. And, to begin with the allegation, well, it's an allegation.
Yeah, it is.
And we can't comment on it more than that. It's just an allegation. But we can generalize. We can draw inferences from other. We cannot speak specifically with reference to the allegation against the former head of state. But what we do know is that we have political office holders who carry money to these countries and London. Of course, the Bori case, the Alamesi case, all of these cases are established.
Yes.
The courts have decided, so we can speak specifically with reference to those. But with reference to the one just made, we can't speak, specifically. And what that means is that the statement, the position that monies are laundered from developing countries to these other countries and that they have collaborators in these countries who assist them is true. There is no that one. The facts about that is indisputable. That one is true. Like I said, we wish we would have more of those who are sincerely desirous of assisting developing countries to get these monies back so that development can take place in these countries. There's no doubt about the fact that there are collaborators.
What would they be? I mean, why would they do that? Why should they go out of their way to help us? Why do we have to depend on them to help us?
Well, in the first place, the greater blame, of course, is on those who take their country's money to these countries.
Yeah.
I mean, if you bring your father's money to me, you have the greater blame. If I say, okay, bring it, let us share it, you have the greater blame. But of course, if I'm honest, if I'm concerned about the common good, I will say, no, don't do that. By doing that, you are shortchanging yourself and your people. So,
all right, let me go on a quick.
So it's just altruistic?
Well, there are people who are altruistic. And like I also said, there is a category that is lukewarm, who doesn't bother.
Don't care.
There's a third category that collaborates and then profits from, all
right, let me go on a quick break. When we come back, continue this conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Still have our guest here with us. Sir, as a professor of international relations and strategic studies, in your view, how do you think we can utilize the Nigerians in the diaspora at times like this? Because we've seen how the other countries in China, India, tap into their diaspora community for development. We have a huge amount of Nigerians living abroad, doing great things. How do you think we can, because we've seen them now, they will talk to their parliament, and the parliament is already debating our matter in their own house. How else can we utilize these Nigerians abroad?
Well, I want to begin by saying that already they contribute tremendously to national development. When we look at the figures of how much they send home every year, it's a huge chunk of what contributes to Nigeria's development. The Diaspora Commission has been working to interact with them to see other ways that they can be of help. I'm aware of the fact that those in medical line, they also have their association over there. And, they've suggested diverse ways in which they can, give their expertise give equipment and all that, to enhance Nigeria's medical sector. So what needs to be done is to identify other critical areas where Nigerians in diaspora, have influence, can render assistance, expertise here and there, and so that they can touch different sectors, not just what they repatriate home, and not just limited to the medical sector.
Let me take this call from Port Harcourt. Come to GBC. Ahmed from Port Harcourt, thanks for calling.
Yes.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Hello?
Hello, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I thought I'm talking to TVC.
Yes, you are. You're live on TVC. Go ahead, please.
Okay. I might say a general comment. I've watched your program, the previous one before now.
Yes.
I mean, this, when we talk of the Minister of Petroleum,
Yes.
Minister of State for Petroleum and this one.
Yes.
And this one you are saying now.
Yes.
I really want to caution us Nigerians, especially you, the TVC and other media organizations that have a lot of reach on what to do in our stations, because it has a lot of impact. I think it was not fair for the Minister of State for Petroleum for you to quote him out of context that Nigerians should be proud. It was not fair at all. He was, if you watch that program, what he was saying is that Nigeria, being our neighboring country, with the interaction we have with them, I mean, we should be proud that we are importing from there and not from U.S. If you have said that we are importing from U.S., maybe the way we have taken it would have been different. We are coming home. Then somebody there, one of you there was saying that this government should tell us what would they do. Can they about the petroleum something? If a small country can, Nigeria can do. A big country can take something from a small country. If that country has enough. Yes, Nigeria, considering their population, it is easy for them with a refinery to meet their local needs. So there's nothing wrong for Nigeria to buy from a neighboring country than going to U.S. to buy it. Okay. There's nothing wrong.
All right.
So that's information I followed. That's what he said. But if we are talking about whether this government is serious about our petroleum sector and what it has to do, our refining here especially, look at it. The issue of the regulation at all of the downstream sector, that is no more subsidy, is the main reason why we have not been able to produce locally.
Right. Thank you very much, Ahmed. I appreciate your views. You're absolutely entitled to your opinion. That's great. Now, going back to...
May I quickly respond?
To him?
Yes. Oh,
No, of course. Let's move on.
Okay. Because I wanted to read out what we...
No. He's his view.
Yeah.
Let's his yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so, I'm excited that this is my very first of seeing petitions work in this way, where I'm politically aware. And I've been thinking in my head, is there any way that we can bring this back to Nigeria, where we sign petitions of the sort of changes that we want, and we see petitions being taken into the houses of assembly, being debated on, being talked about, and we see results? Is there anything we can do differently so that we get to that point where, because in as much as we have people who are not very educated, we still have people who are really educated, who use the mobile phones, who are, in that space where we can write petitions and fight for.
You and I don't get involved. That's the thing.
No. I'm talking about just, we see a lot of petitions that they share on WhatsApp, sign the petition for the sign. How do we get to that point where those petitions are taken seriously? Yeah. What can we do?
Right.
Well, two things. First, we need to insist. It's not just enough signing petitions and then sending them. People need to insist the way they did in the course of the SARS. SARS was scrapped so many times and ended up not being scrapped. So that insistence that look, what we want should be done. Okay. That's one. And then two, our political office holders should be more responsive. They are so dismissive of people, as if it's not those people that voted them. The political office holders need to listen to what people want especially when what people want is legitimate. They should. What happened in the UK case was a case of this is what our people want. This is what our people want us to do. And then, they went ahead to, let's debate it. Let's see what we can do to, listen to the yearnings of our people. That was what happened. That needs to happen more here.
Yeah.
That those voted into power must listen to the people and, when petitions are signed and sent, they must work on them. But given the fact that our history, our political officers tend to be dismissive, that is why the insistence I talked about earlier.
In a situation where the government, for example, CNN did a report, our government came out and said, hey, most of it was fake news, they relied on online materials, and many of the stories they were saying that was a bodiless massacre. Then the UK government is now speaking and they say, oh, these are just individual lawmakers, this is not the position of the British government themselves. In a situation where the government is continually telling us, they keep pushing back at these forces. How does that, where does that put us as Nigerians? We feel like these are helping us, but where does it put us as Nigerians?
Well, that is the point. It's unfortunate that, the government's position has been just to dismiss, has been defensive, really, because you see the story continues to shift. And some of it is even embarrassing. Yes, because I read, a piece in the aftermath of the CNN report, where people just dismiss the CNN thing and all that and say nothing of such happened. Our soldiers are too sophisticated to take life rounds to peaceful protest. A few hours later, the army came to admit that they actually took life rounds. So it's even embarrassing. The government needs to be more serious. I mean, it's like a joke. How can a minister of information come to speak and just a few hours later, what he discountenanced, what he said never happened? We have another segment of the same government coming to confirm that.
Let me take this call from Shola. Shola's been holding for a while. Shola, are you there?
I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please. Morning.
Yeah, good morning to everyone in the studio.
Good morning.
Yeah, please,
Oh, please call Shola back. Is he still there? I think he mistakenly pressed the hold button. Oh, please try to call him back. We really need to speak to him. Yes, go ahead, Maria.
Yeah, so when we have conversations like this, sometimes I wonder that type of government, could that be a problem? If we were to have like a parliamentary, I think even someone called today and was saying if we had like a parliamentary system of government, maybe then our leaders will realize that they need to be more accountable to us. Is that the problem, or is it just the problem of the Nigerian mindset, and that no matter what we introduce, the Nigerianness will come into play?
Well, one looks very closely at, of course, we practiced the parliamentary before, and now we are practicing the executive presidential system. It will appear as if, given our social environment, that the parliamentary system will be more effective. But yes, because there's a whole lot that it cuts off, and there's a whole lot that it makes possible, given our social environment. So if you ask me, I would say, well, the parliamentary system will seem to be better for our environment. But having said that, who we are is a more fundamental issue.
Yes.
You can design the best system ever.
Who are we, sir? Sorry.
Well,
that's a whole kind of world. Because even me, I can answer that question for you. I mean, because who are we? I mean,
who determines who everyone is?
Right? Well, you see, this is the thing. When we say who we are is actually the aggregate of what the majority of us do. There's no country where we don't have bad people. But if you have 1,000 people, 950 are bad. The good that the rest 50 will do will simply disappear, will be swallowed up by the 950. But if you have a country where 1,000 people, 900 are good, 100 are bad, the badness of the 100 will not reflect. The 900, so that's the thing. Yeah. We have too many of our people who are not doing well, who are not doing good. I
mean, it's sad. See, in fact, we need to do a whole show on who we are. Because we need to decide, because as a country, we've totally deteriorated, and we need to have that conversation, maybe to remind ourselves how far we come. But let me let you round up.
But let me make an addendum just to this.
Yes.
Okay. The good thing is that our people are malleable. malleable to the extent that if we have somebody who is determined to take us the right direction,
we
it
will
doesn't
go.
take much for us to follow him. That is an advantage.
I see that in Edo.
I agree.
But to take
I
it's
agree
a
with you.
different conversation.
That is an
I agree
advantage.
with you.
Can I add one more?
Yeah, 1 second.
So there's a name that seems.
But you can't have a question. Comments. We have to go.
Oh, a comment. This Yakubu Gowon's name that was thrown like that.
Like that. With that respect.
And a lot, a few of us who have met him and sort of, we know
See
a little
highly.
bit of his story. And we have so much respect for him. Is it enough that a parliamentarian in Britain
Just
throws his name and says he took half of CBN? Is that
How?
Who are you to say that?
What's the evidence?
Where is
Our
there any truth
our
in
elder
that?
statesman.
This particular head of state, former head of state, so I'm not talking of every other one, but this particular former head of state.
Well, unfortunately, he didn't say much.
Yes.
He just made that
Through
comment, said other things about the money is laundered, and moved on. But the way he spoke with so much firmness.
And
Half of
certainty.
CBN.
Yes, and he was saying, well, we know. So it's not something we can say yes or no. But what I can say is that I'm surprised as a person.
Yes.
Because I also personally know him. I visited his house before. You know money smells. If somebody takes half of CBN money a
You
day,
will know.
the way he will
Anna
live,
Gossip.
you don't see it. I don't know.
But he
his
doesn't
house
live
is-
in Nigeria.
My house is almost better than his.
I'm told he
at
lives-
least that one I went
But is
to
it true that he lives
in the Cote d'Ivoire, in Ikoyi.
But is it true he lives abroad? We heard that he lives abroad. That as a former president for head of state, he shouldn't be living outside the country. Is that?
He doesn't live abroad. Though.
Doesn't live- doesn't-
He
that
travels
was
to
a-
the he travels.
So that's not the
In
allegation that he
the
lives
way
abroad.
I've also met his supervisor.
Yeah.
The person who supervised his PhD in the UK.
Yeah.
I met him. He came to Lagos as somebody we met. The way he described him, he was like any other
Simple,
student.
humble.
Yes.
If you have that kind of money,
It will show
You
on
will
your
show.
forehead.
Your forehead.
I'm not saying it's not true,
Okay,
but
we
I
have
want
to
to say
wrap
that
up.
circumstantial
But please,
evidence
before
is
any
making it
UK
difficult for me
parliament
to believe
when the
what has
UK
been
parliament
said.
talking about our elder statesman and our former heads of state, please,
They
you
should
should
mind
watch
themselves.
yourself.
They have evidence to do that.
Bring
kind of thing.
evidence. Don't just be talking anyhow.
Let's just leave it open.
All right.
you.
That's all we can take on the show. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.